Hey, how you doing today? I am Taquila Coleman. In today's video, I'm going to give some instructions for my God ordained spouses who are in stage 8. Okay, so in the 9 stages God ordained believing spouses go through before you see this promise manifest, we have stage 8, right? And the Lord gave me a dream this morning with some instruction for me, but also for those of you who are in stage 8. And so, if you're wondering what what is she talking about, where can I find these stages at, head over to Amazon and get a copy of my book. It's called God Ordained Marriages. Get a copy of my book. Inside of the book, you can find the 9 stages God ordained believing spouses go through before you see this promise manifest. Okay, but stage 8 is all about the resurrection stage. Okay, now to resurrect means the act of raising, or the act or the state of something being raised from the dead. Okay, so in stage 8, in the resurrection stage, you are in stage 8 whenever God began to transition you, whenever He began to move you. Okay, for some of you, you if you have already stepped into your calling, if you already know this is the assignment God, has called for me to do with my God ordained husband or wife, more than likely you are in stage 8. Okay, um, but again, stage 8, a big clear indicator for you to know that you are in stage 8 is that you are in transition and God is moving you. Okay. Um, so let's talk about move. Okay. Because this move can look many different ways. All right. So one of the ways how this move can look is up out of the blue. God could just immediately tell you start packing and move you, within a week. He could have you leave your place of living and transition somewhere else. Okay. And you may be wondering why, is God having me to leave my house, my home? And one of the reasons why is because that place has now become unsafe, whether you realize it or not. Okay, so God, He's protecting you in this God ordained stance. He see what you can't see, so God will begin to prompt your spirit to move. Okay, He will even disrupt your whole entire life, and cause, He will put you in a position where you have no other choice but to move. Okay, so if this is what's happening in your life, just be obedient to what God is doing and move. Okay, another way how this move can look like in your life is God has now moved you into preparing as a husband or wife. So you know this is for you because you have been seeking out courses and programs and books and reading on how to be a wife, how to be a husband, right? You learning your role, right? You pressing in it as in intercessor, right? Intercession, right? You pressing into that because you know this comes with your role. You learning what it means to be a helpmate, okay? um Things of that nature. So if God is preparing you, um and that's one of the ways how this move can show up, is where you are now moving into preparing for your role as a husband and wife. And that can also look like you getting rid of your counterfeits, you getting your house in order, right? You taking care of your finances, like you are really focused on, let me prepare, because this is what God is placing on my spirit for this season, so I have things to get in order. Okay, that's another way how this move can look like. Another way how this move can look like in your life is, now God is moving you, He's moving your life from the pit to the palace. And I'm going to combine these other two here. He can move your life from the pit to the palace. God can move you into your calling. God will move you from working the field to owning the field. So, in so many words, you could be working at a job, and when it's time for you to step into your assignment, God can call you off of that job and tell you, go ahead, step into that assignment right now. And you know that this is God calling you, because just as He's prompted you to let go of this job, He's still providing for you. He still, once you say yes to the assignment and you step into it and you launch the business, you launch the ministry, whatever it is that God is telling you to do, God is going to blow on it, and He's going to send the resources you need to, continue to sustain your life. So that's how you know that this is God doing, right? So your life overnight could go from the pit to the palace. Overnight, you could be working a job and God get you off of that job and now you own it. Businesses, okay? And again, God is going to blow on it. You know, this is a God idea because God, you can see the fruit. You can see, the fruit coming from that business idea that was from God. Okay, if you left your job to start a business, but you don't see any fruit, it's hard that you might want to go back to God and begin to ask God, is this, am I in alignment with your will, your purpose, and plan for my life? Okay, so understand when you come into stage 8, you know the biggest sign that you are in stage 8 because a move is going to happen. Transition is happening in your life. God is shaking your life up. Disruption is hitting your life. You may even begin to feel like you are the prodigal because of the things that are going wrong in your life. It is not that you are the prodigal. It's not that God, has forgotten about you or you are up under God's wrath. It's none of these things. Sometimes because we are, disobedient and we procrastinate and second guess ourselves, because we overlook what God keep showing us, keep prompted in our spirit. God said, okay, because you keep ignoring all the signs I'm giving you to move, now I got to disrupt your life. Now I got to cause an eviction to happen to you suddenly when I kept telling you to move, right? Now I got to cause, this job to let you go when I kept telling you to leave this job, okay? And this is how we are. I'm guilty of it. This is how we are. We know we hear God telling us it's time to leave the job, it's time to move. Don't sign that lease again. We know we hear God saying these things. However, we still hold on to it. We still try to figure it out in our mind you know, we still try to play it safe until God steps in and say, okay, I'm about to disrupt all of your plans. And I'm going to put you in a situation where you have no other choice but to head in a direction that where God is sending you. Okay. So also, this is how you also know you are in stage 8 because you already know your prophetic calling. You cannot be in stage 8 and you don't know if you are a pastor, prophet, teacher, apostle, or evangelist. No. Okay. And I have to say this because a lot of you, when I ask you all what stage you're in, you just throwing yourself in whatever stage you want to be in, and that's not the correct stage. So again, you are in stage 8 when God began to transition you. Okay. Your life began to transition. God is telling you to move. You're in stage 8 because you also know you're prophetic. Where you know who you are in the fivefold ministry. Put it like that. Okay, it don't necessarily mean you stepped into that calling. That anointing from the fivefold ministry, but you know God called me to be a prophet. God called me to be a pastor. You know this. God called me to teach, right? So that's another one. For some of you, I'm gonna say this. Another way how you know you are in stage 8 is if God has already revealed to you your God ordained marriage assignment. Okay? So let me say this. Hear me. God ordained marriages is for his specific purposes. God ordained marriage is for God's specific purpose. Okay? With God's purpose, it comes a test. When you pass the test, you receive your testimony. Your testimony reveals your assignment. Your assignment is the reason why God joined you and your spouse together because he wants both of you to come together and fulfill this assignment, this calling that is on your life. This is what he wants the two of you to bring to the world. This is what God is going to use through you and your spouse to change the world, to change and impact the next generation. Okay? So you cannot say, I'm in stage 8. Well, you can say this, but what I'm getting at here, if you are in stage 8, know that in order to get to stage 9, you have to go through the test. You cannot skip the test. You have to take down the kingdom of darkness. You cannot skip it. This is how we get to the testimony. This is how your assignment is revealed. I can never step into God ordained marriage without first passing the test, without first learning how to defeat the kingdom of darkness. Are you understanding me here? So I need everyone to understand what God is doing, because a lot of you are saying, oh, my spouse came back, but you don't have a testimony. That wasn't God who sent your spouse back. A lot of you are saying, oh, God did it. Okay, what's your calling? Who are you in the fivefold ministry? You can't tell me. Again, and that tells me you trying to skip the process. You can't skip the process. God will not be mocked. His word said, what God has joined together, let no man separate. You got to go through the fire. You got to go through the test. You have to know exactly how to take down the kingdom of darkness. Okay? If you want a God ordained marriage, you got to go through it. It's not an easy process. Okay? So understand, I have to talk to you all like this because, again, some of you are, you just quick and you think this process doesn't apply to you, and you think you're gonna take the easy route. No, ma'am, no, sir. Okay. If you want a God ordained marriage, you're gonna be tried, you're gonna be tested, you're gonna be pruned. God gonna develop you, and He gonna grow you. He got to get you prepared for your calling. Okay. So now, here's the other thing. In stage 8, you're gonna start coming into your suddenly moment. Okay. Again, stage 8 is the resurrection stage. In stage 8, this is when God has you in transition. This is when you are moving. Okay. Stage 8, you should already know who you are in the fivefold ministry. Stage 8 is when if you don't know your calling or assignment, you will know it. Okay. Before you get to stage 9. Stage 8, it requires for you to take down the kingdom of darkness. Okay. And just a side note, tomorrow inside of our God Ordained Marriage Academy, we're teaching the class how to identify your God ordained marriage calling, okay, and assignment. Okay. So I'm gonna teach that class tomorrow night because, again, it's a requirement. You have to know this before your spouse come back, okay, before you get to the promised land. Okay. But you gotta have these things in place, all right? And then also in stage 8, you're going to come into your suddenly moment, okay? So in Matthew chapter 28, verse 9, Jesus was suddenly raised from the dead. That was his suddenly moment, and he was right there, before his disciples' eyes, okay? Joseph, he was quickly brought from the dungeon and into the palace. He had a suddenly moment, okay? So you should have a suddenly moment, okay? Ruth suddenly married to Boaz and given birth to a son. Okay. Esther suddenly made queen, winning the king's favor, and then taking down Haman. Okay. Come on now. So you see how, um, like in Esther case, she suddenly received her crown. Then she also took down the kingdom of darkness. That was Haman, because he was coming after her people trying to kill him. Okay. You see this, right? That was a God ordained marriage. Ruth and Naomi, they got a testimony as well. I need you all to understand this. Ruth left her gods, okay? And she left the place she had been living to go and follow Naomi, okay? Now understand, by Ruth leaving her gods, she left the kingdom of darkness. She left covenant with the kingdom of darkness, and she came into covenant with the kingdom of God, okay? Naomi was bitter and believed the Lord had gone out against her. She said, the Lord has afflicted me and brought misfortune upon me. That was in chapter 1. But in chapter 4, we see that the Lord had renewed Naomi's life. We see the testimony, okay? There's no testimony without going through the test. Understand this process, okay? Joseph had to be, rejected and plotted against by his own brother, his own family members. It was part of his process, okay? Because Joseph had a dream. And in order for God to bring that dream to pass, because God could not lie, So what he showed Joseph in his dream, God is like, okay, Joseph, now I gotta, honor my word. I gotta bring this dream that I showed to you in your. I gotta bring this dream that I gave you in your dream to pass. So he allowed the brothers to betray him, reject him, and plot against him. It was part of his process to get him over to the place, the promised land, where now we're going to see this dream manifest. So um, we see his dream coming to pass, and his testimony, Joseph's testimony was, God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household, and God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. Okay? So understand, I'm going to say it again. God ordained marriages is for his purpose, it's for God's purpose. Okay? It's more than marriage. With God's purpose comes a test. When you pass the test, you receive your testimony. Your testimony reveals your assignment. Your assignment is the reason why God joined you and your spouse together, because he wants the two of you to come together to fulfill this assignment that's on your life. He wants you to bring this assignment to the world so that y'all can begin to impact the next generation of men and women. Some of you are going to be coming up against these systems. You're going to be tearing them down and establishing God ordained system. Okay? Stop running from your calling and step into it. All right? You're a prophet. Go ahead. Change your clothes. Okay? That's what that means. Change your clothes. Okay? That's what that means. Anointing. Stop seeing yourself as, you know, oh, I'm just, whatever your name is, I'm just such and such. No, you're a prophet. You're a pastor. You're a teacher. Okay? You're an apostle. See yourself how God sees you. Okay? Now, here's the instruction. I had to say all of that because, again, I wanted everyone to know what stage 8 looked like, what goes into stage 8, so that you don't lie to yourself and say, I'm in stage 8, and a year go by, and you say, well, Taquila, what happened? I've been here for you. No, you just misinterpret your stage. So here's the message. I got a dream. Like I said, I had a dream this morning. I'm not going to tell you the dream because, again, the dream was for me, and it has some good instructions for me. But I got to keep that to myself because I know the enemies are listening to me. But I will give you the interpretation of what you need to hear. Okay, for my God ordained spouses who are in stage 8, God wants you to focus. Okay, He needs you to focus. Cut out all the distraction. Whatever, whoever is a distraction to you, move away from it. Get rid of it. Get it out of your life. It's time to focus. Okay. God needs you to focus on getting to that promised land. Because that's stage 9. He needs you to focus on getting to that promised land. If you are in contact with your spouse, again, focus. If being in contact with your spouse is a distraction to you, you know it's a distraction because you may show signs of being up and down in your emotion. You're not really getting, your work done. You're more focused on what your spouse is doing than what God is telling you to do. If this is a distraction to you, you got to let go of your spouse, okay? Lead your spouse. You're only going to lead them for a short period of time because God needs you to focus on getting to that promised land, okay? He's trying to restore your life. He's trying to bring the resources you need into your life, but you got to focus. Some of you, God is still waiting on you to learn how to take down this kingdom of darkness. Focus. Some of you, God is still waiting on you to launch that business and that ministry. Focus. Okay? Playtime is over. It's time to get serious. It's time to focus and get to that promised land. Whatever it takes, focus. Don't focus on the enemy. Don't focus on your prodigal. Get to that promised land. Whatever God is telling you to work on, do it. Stop procrastinating. Stop coming up with all these excuses why you can't do it. Get it done. Adopt and get it done mindset. It's time. Okay? This is what he wanted me to tell you all. This is the instruction. We got to focus on getting from here to the promised land, because that's the next stage. Okay? So whatever assignment, what God told you to do last. Do it. Okay? It's go time. All right? So I'll see you on the other side. I am Taquila Coleman. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care.